cinematography itself, mistakes that were made basically in the movie. So the first one, the intro, it's just not a mistake, but the intro shots were McCurry's images. McCurry spent a lot of time in India and Afghanistan. I don't know about Pakistan, but in some of the photos, it looks like it could have been Pakistan, but for sure it's India. For sure it's India, and maybe some Pakistan and Afghanistan in there, but they're McCurry's images, and that's why the whole movie is loosely based on, basically, if you can take Steve McCurry dying of cancer, and he's estranged from his son, and that's basically the premise of the movie, right? So secondly, so this is what drove me crazy of all the things in the movie. So the character Ben, he's got this obsession, compulsion with wiping his lenses down with a rag. He's got a Leica. It looks like an M4 because it's got the sideways, the film rewind crank, right? Because remember the M2 and M3 was the post, and the 4, it was the side. It was kind of on a 45-degree angle, right? So it looks like an M4-ish camera, but he's always wiping the lens down with this rag, and it looks like a coarse rag. If you ever been to like an auto parts supply store, they sell these red shop rags, right? And they're very coarse, and they're for wiping down car parts. You're working on your car, and you get your hand, you're wiping down like greasy parts. And he's got like these rags, and they don't look like microfiber or anything soft. They look like standard rags, and he's wiping down his Leica lenses with this rag. And I'm like, okay, stop. Where's the technical advisor on the set? Because no photographer is going to wipe down a $3,000 lens with a shop rag. Okay, we know, right, as photographers, you use an air rocket to blow the loose dirt from the surface of the lens, just those little hand pumps. It blows a little stream of air, and then you take, like a lens pen, it's got the felt end, and there's the little delicate brush end. So after you blow it with an air rocket, you take the brush part and very gently, right, you just brush the lens very gently. And he's got this rag, and he's just kind of grinding on the lens with this rag like he's wiping down a gun. Ed Harris has done a lot of military movies, so it seems like he was in that groove where he's wiping down a weapon, like he's oiling a weapon and cleaning a weapon. And you can tell that, you can really tell that it's like he thought he was like wiping down a weapon. And it's like, Ed Harris, man, you're not wiping down an M16. You're wiping a $3,000 Leica lens. Okay, so again, it was a big technical faux pas in the movie. So again, I'm getting close to some spoilers here, so bear with me. So near the end of the movie, they get some film developed. They go to Parsons. They get the film developed. It's Kodachrome. Now, this film has been in storage for 30 years in the canister. So the character Ben has exposed the film. He's taking these shots, and they've been in storage for 30 years. And he gets them back from Dwayne's, and they look pristine. They're marvelous, like they were shot yesterday. And if you've ever shot film and you've let it set for a long time, I just developed some for a friend, a coworker. He took some images, and these images are only 15 years old or so, and they were atrocious. They were terrible. And again, it's not even about overheating. It's just when you expose a roll of film, you should develop it as soon as possible, right? So this Kodachrome has been sitting 30 years, and he gets it back from Dwayne's, and there are no imperfections basically in the film. They look absolutely gorgeous, and I'm like, okay, that's a technical faux pas, because there's no way this film would have looked that good in storage for 30 years. And lastly, so this is another big one. So they show a brief instant where the film is 64. It's Kodachrome ASA 64. Now the problem is, 64 was designed for outdoor use. 64 is a very slow. Basically 200, 400 is even playing it close, but 200 and slower is definitely outdoor film. Now this is 64, so this is almost 2 stops slower than 200. So he's got the 64, and and it shows like they're candids. They're indoor candids without strobe, without flash, and the images are perfect. There's no motion blur from his subjects. So he's shooting these people, and there's no blur whatsoever. Now dig this. He's using 64 speed film indoors with no flash, and the people he's photographing, there's no blur in the images. And these aren't people sitting for portraits. These, like, he's shooting people in the house doing random things, and there's no blur. So you're thinking, okay, God, okay, first of all, you got to at least have 800 ASA film, right? And even then, you got to drag your shutter a little bit if you're going to shoot indoors. So how he got these images with ASA 64 film, right, indoors with no strobe or no flash is beyond me. So again, it was another technical mistake that should have been caught. And you know, in the movie they should have just used strobe, like he's using a handheld flash, right? He's got ASA 64 speed film. I got it, but you know, just hit his subjects, bounce the flash off the wall, and it's halfway believable. Okay, I got it. You're using 64 speed film, but you hit him with a flash, and I can buy into it a little bit that you pulled off the shot. But these are just, again, there's no flash involved, so it becomes completely unbelievable. So let me wrap it up. So we had some, at the beginning you had some, the first half hour was grossly overacted. The tension between the characters was off the charts. Horrible first half hour of the movie. But the good thing, I think it was an hour and 40 minutes. The second hour and 10 minutes were actually quite good. So what the director did is say, okay, look, let's get this tension and drama out of the way. The characters start to get along. They start to gel, right? They reach this point where they're comfortable with each other and all this. They got their catharsis and all this hostility out of their system, and they become somewhat bearable. So the second half of the movie, the second 2/3 actually, so the first third is unbearable, it's really horrible, and the second 2/3 are actually quite good. And again, with these minor photography mistakes, it's nothing. Overall, I would actually give the movie an 8.0. It was really good. It was actually an excellent movie. But again, the viewers at IMDb, there's about 2,400 reviews so far, and the composite so far is about a 6.8 at IMDb. And I think that's a little bit harsh. I think the movie's better than that. I would actually give it about an 8.0. It's a wonderful movie. I highly recommend it. If you can get, like I say, if you can get past some of this initial overacting and this drama and some of the technical mistakes regarding photography, I think you'll actually enjoy the movie. I did. I thought it was a wonderful movie. So again, I thank you for sitting through this review. I know it was a little bit long, and I thank you for your time, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you again.